What's good, everyone? Looks like the LR UI Goku Saga has finally come to a conclusion or resolution on the global side, in an ideal manner at that, too. I mean, honestly, the full refunds given out, plus the 10 stones and compensation, and, obviously the banner not being reset, that honestly makes the most sense as to the most ideal, way to go about it. So I'm glad the developers, Bandai Akatsuki, they essentially did the right thing and gave the refunds to the players on the global side. So pretty happy for you guys, and great start to 2021 for sure. I mean, for 300, 200, 400, 600 stones, whatever, cycles you went through, you essentially got those back. So that can only be a good thing. So, with that being said, I think, once we were able to come to a resolution with that, I figured it'd be a good occasion to just kind of reflect back since the launch of the game and just talk about the various errors, changes, problems, controversies that have occurred in the game, and again, the occasion's befitting for it right now, since the UI Goku situation actually came to an ideal close. So I don't think people will necessarily be triggered by talking about some of the stuff that happened in the past, especially from some of the JP comps and whatnot. So we'll go ahead and get started here in a second. I did throw in a pop quiz. Of course, Daiko is the one to get that one right. Social Fire did create her channel on August 23rd, 2018. She's definitely got some interesting content on her site. So if you haven't checked her out, definitely make sure to go check that channel out. I think for the next one, we'll kind of keep it simple and trivia related, Dokkan related type questions. So my question for this one will be, how many total Dragon Stones can you actually get from the main storyline or quest mode? So if you know the right answer to that, comment in the comment, and whoever answers it correctly first, I'll shout you out in the next video. Okay, all right, let's talk about all the controversies and glitches and errors and bugs and whatever. Start off from 2015. I haven't really fully read this yet, so a lot of the things I kind of want to test out if I remember this stuff too. So I'll be kind of reading alongside you guys when it comes to this stuff. Okay, so release date, a lot of cards that were released before October 30th, 2015 will all have the same date. Most likely they didn't track the release dates of cards before that date. I mean, that makes sense. I mean, it's the first time the game launched. There's a lot of other important components to prioritize over a release date potentially, so that makes sense. The turn reset is actually very nostalgic. When you close the app, the turn started again from the beginning, helping to avoid attacks and lack of key or items. This could be used at the map to get the best rewards. This was solved by 2017. So think about it, this way, where you're able to reset. You're going through, you actually make the choices in battle, for example, right? And you're going through all the enemy attacks and your attacks and whatnot, and you happen to get supered at the worst time possible, whatever the case is. Well, you could close out before you die and reset, and then just kind of alter your decisions a little bit. So there was a way to kind of go through about it that way. That's, when Dokkan events were actually quite a lot more difficult than they are now, especially because of, the available cards and whatnot. So yeah, it's certainly an interesting time for sure. Let's see, the Ghost Usher, similar to the bug before, the bug allowed you to use the second Ghost Usher the following turn if you close that, making it 2 following turns without being attacked. So that's another kind of a loophole glitch that people kind of exploited a little bit as well. I think I'm not going to go through every single one of these, but I do want to highlight some of these per year. Like the Ox King's pretty significant. Reduced 75% of damage received instead of 25% he was supposed to. That's yeah, an extra 15% attacked on top. That's a pretty big deal. The Black Screen, that's more or less just kind of a display error, so to speak. 2016, moving on, during the release of Full Power Frieza, the banners showed AGL Super Saiyan 3 Goku and Kid Goku instead of the, I guess, SSR version of those units. This not only wasn't fixed, but no compensation wasn't handed either. So, you guys think it was rough? Nowadays in Dokkan Battle, with the comps and whatnot, they didn't even acknowledge this back then. I know they did for a couple of them, but for this particular one, it looks like it was just, simply ignored. So a little bit interesting there. Of course, server overloads with the anniversary units, that certainly makes sense. A lot of excitement, was occurring during that time. And this was, honestly before, we had Hato-sama and a couple of others that were data miners, but they weren't really that common and well known to the point they are now, like some of the guys that are available right now. So the point being, you actually had to go into the game and find out information and see it for the first time in game. So it's kind of a nostalgic period. It's almost like a sense of excitement logging into the game and finding out stuff for the first time. So, it was a different time for sure. And obviously things evolve over time, and that's just the way, the natural evolution of things happening, I guess. So that's just one way to look at it. I guess the same thing happened for Super Vegito and Legendary Super Saiyan Broly's banner. It's funny because this is the banner that I became pay to play. I got tired of getting shafted and threw in some funds and ended up pulling both of them within like 150 multis or something like that. So it was pretty crazy. Okay, let's just move on. We're not gonna worry too much about aesthetics or whatnot. I guess this guy at some point was oh yeah, okay, so you could be sold in the Baba shop for a ridiculous 15,000 Baba points at some point. And they did have like an exploitation with the Baba shop system a while back where you could trade up for quite a lot more points than you should be able to. So that's kind of one of those things, I guess. I guess the hidden potential stages and Pan's Secret Adventure had a bug where you could play them twice a day if you played the first time at midnight. That's actually pretty sweet. Yeah, I can't say I remember that necessarily, so we'll have to keep scrolling through here. Super tag animation switches. By switching friends while the game was loading, it's possible to have characters switch super attack animations. Some examples that were captured in a video are performing Soul Punisher by Yamcha, which is normally a super attack of Gogeta, Burst Rush, and Gigantic Meteor. That's actually pretty funny though, being able to see the super attack animations with these sprites, and I'm sure if we click on the videos, you'd be able to see it as well. Okay, 17, moving on. We got a lot more years to cover, so let's kind of move through this a little bit more quickly. This was, again, a server overload situation where, these units were extremely hyped up when they came out. I remember, like, trying to log into the game for this, and yeah, I remember, like, it was hard to log in because of, the lag and server issues that occurred during that time. Let's see, the World Tournament, which one is this? Number 18, I guess, and then the 14th. Due to the intervention of hackers into the game, the rewards for this World Tournament were given out twice. Oh yeah, I do remember that. I guess it happened for both JP and Global, where because of the hackings, they had to reset it or give out the rewards. Maybe I'm thinking of something else where another thing happened with the World Tournament where they temporarily closed it down, and then they gave out points, I think, depending on how many points you had, and then they pretty much reset everything. So I don't know if this is related to that necessarily, but I do remember something like that happening. Let's see. Strength Bojack had an error where upon Dokkan awakened from his SSR state, his attack stat was lowered by 63 points instead of increased. That makes sense. I mean, yeah, it's kind of important at the time, but not as extravagant as some of the other controversy, I guess. Let's see. Oh yeah, the 15% HP sacrifice. I think this was when they made like the Twitter announcement or something like that, and a lot of people complained about it, and they basically just ended up switching it up. I do vaguely remember that one. Okay, and then another server overload, I guess, Let's see. Several link skills were updated with app 3.6.0 for Japan and 3.5.1 for global. Full list, whatever. Let's see. Oh yeah, this is one of the highlights, right? Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta and Omega Shenron having the to be released leader skill because Global did not go through the 120% meta leads yet at that point, so they couldn't transition, to categories right away. Whereas JP already went through all the 120% leads and whatnot, so that was the whole issue with that. I forgot how long it actually took for them to fix this thing. So. Yeah, that was certainly an interesting time. And then, moving on, this was shortly after with the Kefla situation. Essentially, there was a brief period in which the Kefla banner accidentally displayed false rates. Due to false rates being illegal with the possibility of legal claims against the developers, this was quickly fixed, and all players who summoned on the banner while it displayed false rates got all the Dragonstone they used refunded with an additional 300 gifted as extra compensation. So, again, a lot of stuff happened with this. I think ultimately they did kind of show like the programming code where the glitch occurred and whatnot, just kind of justify as to, why this occurred, and whatnot. But It's kind of funny because they did give out the 300 stones relatively quickly. I remember I was like at work or something, and this came out, dropped. You know, I checked my gift cards and I saw that and whatnot, and you know they also did refund all the stones and whatnot. So it was a pretty crazy time. I guess it was a very, very good thing for the whales, you know, and whatnot. This is one of those things, right? It's almost like real life in a way, right, where you know the richer whales, or whatever the right term is, during I guess for lack of better words, economic downturn, they were able to pull their resources and exploit the market opportunities and make more money. But you know, Kefla is kind of a similar situation in a way, I guess. It's hard to predict though, you know, I mean, but at the same time, if you're a whale, it doesn't matter because you're gonna throw in a bunch of stones at it anyway. So you know, essentially getting that back. Not that it's really a big problem for whales anyway. They have the money for a reason, you know what I mean? So, anyways, not to get on too much of a tangent. Let's see. Either super attack or normal attack, the enemy's health bar will decrease. Okay, these are more aesthetic type stuff. Affecting specific type of Android devices, which causes the game to freeze. I guess this is one of those situations where it's, you know, just a system error type deal. Some users experienced connection failures in the 22nd World Tournament, and then it was suspended and delayed while fixing the connection failures problems. The developers found another bug. Players that reached 15 million points could not proceed normally anymore. Oh yeah, this is what I was talking about earlier. Basically, they, for whatever reason, there was a cap in the cumulative points. So once you got past 15 million, you couldn't get any more points. So basically, once you received that 15 million points, I think you actually got like all the rewards out of it. And then basically, I guess they fixed it a couple days later and opened it back up type deal. You know, 2017 was a pretty weird year, I guess, for glitches and controversy, because now at the very end we have the Rose banner situation, where that was another big one. During the release of the you know, strength type Rose unit, error occurred on the image of the banner showing the TUR state of, you know, Super Saiyan 3, Tech Super Saiyan 3 Broly versus the SSR version. All players who summoned on the banner while Broly was displayed incorrectly got all the Dragon Stones they've used refunded, with an additional 5 gifted as extra compensation. So I guess like it's kind of weird with the UI Goku situation. It's almost like more in the realms of Kefla than it is this one, but they kind of overlap a little bit in a way. So I guess rewards kind of reflect, you know, both of those you know, situations applied, I guess, in that scenario. Okay, let's move on to 2018. I guess you were able to get rewards twice with the LR Androids campaign on the global side. For the LR Vegito Blue, let's see, he had over in a flash link, but when he was officially released, it was changed to prepare for battle. This was made possible due to the players' feedback. So I guess since, you know, they didn't, you know, most players wanted prepare for battle versus over in a flash, which, you know, I guess is fine. You know, it's not too big of a deal. Let's see, Farmville Vegito from the Supreme Fusion Blazing Patata Dokkan event was released basically way too early, and then like they didn't have the assets to the pictures, and basically if you went through that Dokkan event, I think it was like the first stage or whatever, to get this you know, drop rate card, you would see that as the reward. That was actually pretty funny. I guess this also did spark the early release of the Majin Buu Saga category, despite it not being displayed on the category list. So that was another thing that came out with it. Quite interesting stuff. Now, Global also did experience something with this. Basically, the image, right? It showed the Tech Super Saiyan Blue Goku instead of the SR Omega Shenron. So I guess in that regard, players received 1 Dragon Stone as compensation. I guess this one's a little bit, I don't know, like this one's a little bit harder to kind of talk about, because I don't think people really wanted this unit, you know what I mean? So like I guess like the importance level was a little bit less than some of the other stuff that happened, you know, like on the JP side with the wrong banner art and whatnot. So yeah, interesting stuff. This is another one that was pretty interesting. Basically, it appeared in the box of some players with everything maxed out, and then basically this was supposedly a summonable unit, right? And then basically after maintenance, I think they took away all the cards from the players that got them. I think was what the case was. I don't think everybody got the cards. I think they basically just took them away, if I'm not mistaken. Okay, let's just move on. Let's see. This is the holographic diamonds, whatnot. Frozen animations, I guess, on the LRs and stuff like that. Trying not to like condense too much. I basically don't want the video being too long. Let's see. Let's just scroll through here. Oh yeah, this is the Belgian free-to-play forced situation where that was on September 20th, 2018. I guess something came about it to where Google Play or whatever decided to remove the game or app from the Belgian Google Play Store. So I remember memes of free-to-play Belgium whatever. That was kind of the situation there. Let's just keep moving on to some of the other stuff. So 2019, because we still have 2020 to talk about it, and I don't want this video dragging out necessarily, so let's just kind of go through all of these, just highlight some of the important ones. This was a pretty significant one at the time, I think. The hidden Key Multiplier Bug was always present in the game. It didn't become prominent until the release of these guys, due to their passive providing them key for each attack performed, and they attack multiple times per turn, especially against the right category, causing them to launch additional super attacks at 13 to 18 key instead of the 12 key. So the developers eventually announced that they would try to fix this issue in the next update. So I guess this is when the issue came out, and the fixes and whatnot came about with it. So I do remember that time. It was a little bit of an interesting conversational session with the community and whatnot. That was pretty interesting stuff. Let's see. Active skill muting, Broly's global active skill not having a voice, all that stuff. Incorrect key meter display. Ticket summons, I guess, obtain extra 7 tickets instead of, the typical amounts. Issue with the LR pan, resulting in a super tag being able to be launched at 9 and 15 key respectively, blah, blah, blah. Category changes. For some of the units, they were added to certain categories and whatnot. That's kind of a big deal in certain situations, like the Gogeta and Vegito units being on the Pure Saiyans and whatnot. I guess these are more or less like card arts being changed. These are more aesthetics. It's not really that important, to be honest with you. What is this one? An announcement of the EZAs of It and AGL Golden Frieza. The news page showed the Golden Frieza Dokkan event instead of Tech. This was acknowledged and decided to put both Dokkan events up for the rest of the campaign. Let's see, these are bugged missions, passive skill issues with Android 13s, and the EZA for the Trohan unit, and then category changes where the LR Goten and Trunks were added to the fusion. I guess this one from the World Tournament banner was added to the youth category as well. Some of the values for HP attack and defense were lower than expected, blah, 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 whatnot. Unable to access the hidden potential system. Medals displayed in the news to Dokkan Awaken. These units were displayed as whatnot instead of, whatever. So a couple of updates with the link skill changes. Let's see. This is where, the enemies can do the one-hit KO attack without, a countdown warning, stuff like that. Several links were updated at, with the update 4.11, and then they did update the actual link skill system where, you can upgrade basically through a level 1 through 10 program in the system. I personally love the system. The grind is hellish, but the system itself is pretty good, except for, again, the way to grind and farm the link levels. Let's see. During Global's maintenance, the Worldwide Celebration campaign incorrectly registered Global as the loser. Global's amount was set to 0, blah, blah, blah. And this is basically where it's always a situation where both versions want one unit and not the other, basically. So they try to lose, you know what I mean? Like, that's the kind of stuff here. I guess, they made some errors in the typings based on the units here during the announcement versus what the actual units were, I guess, in a way, and whatnot. So we'll go ahead and kind of just skip through some of these. These are aesthetics and namings and whatnot. But here we are with the first controversy of 2021. So just to wrap up and kind of compile this or summarize the latest one that happened. Basically, an issue was found with available characters in the step up banner where the Tech LR Super Saiyan 3 Goku was available in all steps instead of the LR UI Goku, who was only available as the 10th character in step 5. I think what people were saying was these were essentially flipped by accident or a human error of some sort, and basically spurred up the massive uproar from the global side. So I didn't realize how long this banner was out. I mean, I guess it was shut down for 41 hours. I thought it was a lot less than that, but I guess it quickly adds up. And then once that happened, and the discussion board or executive board had their meetings, I'm guessing over at Bandai or Akatsuki. They decided ultimately to refund all Dragonstones that players basically used on the step up banners. The banner itself was left as is. So basically, if you went through let's say 2 full cycles and a couple of steps in the 3rd step, you would get basically all the refunds up to that point, and then still have the remaining steps available that you haven't summoned on yet. So that's pretty much the format with that. And again, in my opinion, I think that's the best course of action in terms of the resolution that would take place where everybody's mostly happy. Now, yes, I understand that people that didn't summon on it and save their stones or whatever, they kind of regret not summoning on it. But in all fairness, this is, an error that occurred in the banner and affected the banner, people summoning on the banner. Yes, I mean, people would have summoned either way. And if people didn't notice this, nothing would have came about it. But either way, it's kind of nice to know that Global was treated well in that regard. And hopefully, the last thing I will say here is hopefully we will no longer have to deal with the Global Shaft or JP 300 stone compensation or whatever the case is. I think the one that came out with LR UI Goku is certainly good enough. I would honestly say it's more than good enough. I mean, you guys on Global essentially got all your stones back and free summons out of it. So I think that's certainly not a bad thing. I mean, I think on our banner and JP is more or less, Kefla's banner, I don't remember it being that great, if I'm being honest. But, whatever the case is, I'm glad everybody's happy for the time being. So, again, I just wanted to cover the past, historicals of controversies, bugs, errors, glitches, and whatnot throughout the years of Dokkan Battle. So hopefully you enjoyed the video. As always, thanks for watching, and I will catch you guys later.